Life is not a 2-minute noodle. You have to work hard.
From a small town in Maharashtra to the top rank of the Indian Administrative Service, today's guest is someone whose journey breaks every stereotype and rebuilds the idea of what public service should look like. This episode is not about civil services. It's about courage, clarity, and choices that shape our leader. Welcome, Ms. R Vimala IAS to Global Leadership Series 2025-26.
Namaste. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Right. So first question will come from your childhood. You grew up in a Tamil family in Jalgaon, Maharashtra. Can you share some vivid memories from your childhood or formative years?
I'm the youngest child of our family. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. My father was working in the railways. Mother was a homemaker. Being the youngest, always had the privilege to do whatever I wish. So I was like kind of tomboyish, wild, enjoying my life. My father, he was a very disciplined and a very sincere, honest person. And we used to pray every day at night. What bound us together and what kept us together every day was those evening prayers, and specifically Om Jai Jagdish Hare, which used to sing every day at night. That probably gave me a lot of strength. And I think that is something which I cherish till today.
So what aspect of your upbringing do you think shaped your values and ambition later in life?
My parents definitely. What I used to see my father working very hard. He used to leave the house 8 o'clock in the morning, come back by 7:38 at night. I always used to think that life may discipline, commitment to work, devotion to your country, to your nation, and love for your family, because he was very affectionate also. And I had very affectionate brothers and sisters also. There is no pressure of performance, or there is no pressure that you have to do a particular thing in life. So the parent's role becomes very important in grooming of the child. And if the parent instills the correct feeling, does not differentiate between girl and boy, and recognizes the potential of each child in the way the child is, that probably makes the biggest difference. And that, I think, perhaps is the most important thing which changed me also and encouraged me also to do what I wish in the correct way.
So we know you were an outstanding student, standing third in the state in your 12th board exam and later topping your class in university. How did this early academic success influence your confidence and career choices?
Frankly speaking, I was still 10th standard, an average student. The first 2-3 years of my school, I was the topper. Then I don't know what happened to me when I was in the 3rd standard onwards. Maths somehow became an aversion for me for some reason. I could not really cope with maths till the 10th standard. During the prelims also I got very less marks, and then my sister really worked on me and somehow I got. The moment my father told him that I don't want to do science, I don't like maths, I'm not able to cope. But somehow I had the courage. I told him that I want to go into arts, I don't like science at all. And he was very open. So he said, you do what you want to study. There's no compulsion as far as you really do what you want and you excel in that. And so I shifted from science to arts. I gave up maths and science. And I think that was a turning point in my life, because I started studying what I wanted to study most, what I liked most. And I had given up maths, which I really hated most. That probably changed. And then that's why the performance also improved in my career also and in my studies also. So I came third in the university. I was staying in Bhusawal, a very small place. And I remember very well when the results came, I was third in my own college. I was the topper. 2-3 local newspaper people came to our house, said, who is Vimla? And they took our interview also. We have kept that paper at home. It was written also that Raman Chimulgi in Marathi has come first in the college and third in the university. So it was a wonderful experience for him also and for me also, that whatever he encouraged me, that I was able to achieve. So I personally feel that parents, this is the most important thing, that recognize the potential of your child. Don't force them to do something which they don't want to do. Each child is different. You cannot put everyone in the same box. Everyone has a potential. Everyone can do what they wish to do. And I really hats off to my father and my mother that they did this for me. But they recognize that this person is capable of doing arts well. Let us encourage, let's not go by the stereotype. It changed my life. Parents were there behind. It's not because I was really, if they would have forced me to do science, probably I would have been in a very different state.
So when was this envision towards public service happened?
That was very early in my life. I was just in the 5th standard. Our senior, Anthony Giza, he became an IAS officer. There was a felicitation program for Mr. Desa also, he came. And I was totally enamored by the idea. Somebody came and so much of recognition was there. And he spoke about his experience also. So at that time only I decided that I want to get into IAS, and I just mentioned to my father also. He always encouraged me. That was a point, I think it was much early in my life. After my 12th standard, I started preparing also. So I started early preparation also, definitely.
So you went on to study history deeply, completing MPhil and even lecturing in Pune University in history. What drew you to history as a subject, and how has having a strong grasp of history helped you as an administrative dealing with contemporary issues?
When I decided to do UPSC and get into civil services, I think that was the first reason to take history, because I felt that I'll be able to score good marks. So history has always been very attractive for me. Studying history will really help me, and it will also help me in my career, because history questions are also a part of the general studies paper. And teaching really happened very suddenly. Since I had passed the UGC exam, the head of the department told me that would you want to join there? And so when he offered me that, it was very difficult to resist to take the job as a lecturer. So teaching was also very wonderful. It was a very interesting experience, and I really enjoyed teaching. Life is designed by God and takes its own journey. So it worked out like that.
So before entering IAS, you joined the Maharashtra State Service via the MPSC route. Can you talk about the decision?
I had appeared for UPSC twice. I didn't get through, gone to interview. So actually I was in a very great state of depression. UPSC exam, it takes a toll on you. The kind of mental stress one goes through, and feel upset also that all the effort you have put in has gone waste. I was going through a very bad phase of my life at that point of time. Many of my colleagues and students were preparing for MPSC. But I never wanted to give MPSC because MPSC has 100 marks paper in Marathi. I had given up Marathi, so I was not very keen on appearing. But somebody told me to just appear for the exam. So that was when I decided to appear for, I got through the first attempt. In 3 months I had to prepare for Marathi. And I had a very respected teacher. And she told me, don't worry, I'll teach you Marathi. In 3 months you'll be able to write, I'm sure. So 3 months every day, at least 2 hours is to study Marathi. So that's how my journey went into MPSC, and I got through. First I went into the sales tax department at STO. It was a class 1 post. And then, of course, the second time I became a deputy collector. In the meantime, still UPSC chapter closed. So when I went for the errand, coming back, I met with an accident 1 day before the examination. So I just felt that destiny doesn't want me to be in UPSC. But now when I look back, I feel that everyone's destiny is probably part of what God decides. So I happily joined MPSC, and it's been a great journey, I feel. And it's been a very satisfying experience also.
So how did working in the state civil service prepare you for IAS?
So once you become a deputy collector, there is a quota for promotion, induction into IAS. It takes time. I got it almost after 15 years of my service. We work in all those departments where a collector works. I've joined as a land acquisition officer, and I worked for rehabilitation. I worked for elections. I was Tahsildar also initially in my training. One gets that experience of working as a collector. And as resident deputy collector of Mumbai city, it's like almost a collector, because you are doing whatever the collector is doing. You get automatically prepared for the job of being an IAS officer. It was like walking into the same position on a larger scale. So it's not difficult. You can work for the welfare of the people. I pride myself that I have had the opportunity to work for all public welfare schemes, which very few people get. So it's been a great journey, I feel.
So would you recommend aspirants to consider state service as an alternative path to serve, especially if the UPSC journey is taking longer than expected?
My first choice, of course, is UPSC, no doubts about it. Number of people who appear, almost about 5 to 6 lakh students appear for the examination. And the selection is barely about 800 to 1000. So it's such a long journey. But having a second plan in life, plan B, is very important when you appear for UPSC. Not only MPSC, I feel, because MPSC also is very difficult. In this day and age, there are so many options. Today, everyone has so many options, the young generation. When I did not get through UPSC, I was desperate to get into MPSC. I have to pass at any cost. So that feeling should not come in anyone's life of desperation. So always keep yourself, have something in life to fall back on. It always helps.
So in your early postings, you wore many hats. Joint Managing Director of a small industries corporation, heading the iconic film city in Mumbai, handling entertainment, duty tax and rehabilitation people displayed by projects, among others. Looking back, which one of the two positions in the early phase of your career were the most challenging and taught you the most?
You got a different types of posts to do. I'll talk about two posts. One when you're young and when you become older in life, you mature and how you react. Entertainment duty is like one thing. It was a very dynamic kind of post. You have to collect revenue. And evasion in our country is quite high. People just want to evade paying tax. And revenue for government collection is very important. So I used to go on these raids. In fact, cable connections when I joined at that point of time, I remember were barely about 80,000 I joined that post. And when I left, it was more than about 5 or 6 lakhs. So that was the kind of jump in numbers which increased the revenue. One night, I went somewhere in the middle of the night, went for a raid. It was a very exciting experience. But the next day, I was removed from my post. So that was the biggest lesson I learned in my life, that if you want to do something also, don't rush into something. But I felt that probably I could have been a little more mature and done it in a better way. And I was quite upset. And there were threat calls. It was a different kind of life I led. Second thing I really cherish in my life, I devoted my life to the cause. I became the Chief Executive Officer of Rural Livelihood Mission. I was interacting with women. So while I was working with women, it is not that I was developing the capacity. I developed my own capacity of talking to people, interacting to people, and understanding their difficulties, planning how to give them better livelihoods. From barely about 70 or 80,000 self-help groups, which were then we went up to 5 lakhs. But in a span of about 4 years, from 50 blocks, we covered all the 352 blocks and all the villages of Maharashtra. And I used to love interacting with the women. So much of character, so much of strength. It was sad to see that in villages, women are working the most, whether in the field, whether in the house. They are managing their lives well. The farmers, we made more than 18 lakh women farmers. Women are not recognized as farmers, so we enrolled them as farmers. The money went into the bank accounts. And I learned so much. It was a job for me, but it has become a mission of my life. I devote myself to the cause. I'm still working for the empowerment of women. It was too extreme. At one time, that garam khoon hota hai to prove what I want to do. And second time, devoting to your cause. Changing your whole village, state, country, and the life of a woman. And changing your own self. My whole life got transformed. So these two things I really cherish, and I'm grateful to God specifically that I got this opportunity to work with the women. And I hope I will devote myself to this cause in future also.
So what change did it bring to your way of working when you were transferred because of your action?
I don't think immediately there was any change because I was transferred again soon after that. So after my entertainment duty posting, I was sent to another lands manager, MMRDA. And there too, there was some issue about security being misused. And so I had stopped that also. I remember Mr. Nandalal is a very renowned principal secretary revenue at that time. So he had called me to his office. He said, कि तुम क्या करते रहते? But he said, तुम करती रहो. पर तुमको तो फिर भी लेकिन यहाँ से तो जाना पड़ेगा because मंत्री जी का ये है कि आप यहाँ रह नहीं सकते. So I went into Film City. That was totally a different experience. Like suddenly you're in a world full of glamour. 2-3 things I remember which happened due to our efforts. One was KBC. अभी तो KBC अब सभी जानते हैं. They came and they shot for more than 3 seasons when I was there. So that was one wonderful experience. Can you imagine कैसे लगता है, like you're sitting in a place where all these big names are there, whether it is Govinda or Amitabh Ji or Hrithik Roshan, Hema Malini, Rekha. So it was a great experience. So what was the challenge in Film City was ensuring that the producer directors come to you for shooting. I always try to do the best, give them the location properly, ensure that all facilities are there, light, water. This was the main management of Film City. We have to manage the Film City, ensure shooting happens in there. Safety, security was a big issue for them. These are all the things which I got in my life, thanks to my career and the opportunity to be in government service. This opportunity सबको मिलती नहीं. So I think probably that is true. Got that.
So what do you think? Did it require different approach compared to your other administrative services?
Being in the Film City, you have to be very polite, talk to the people, encourage them to come. Meeting all these kind of big producers, directors, Subhash Bhai ji the. I had that skill. And so I was there for more than 3.5 years. And people still do remember that I was there at that time. It requires a skill. I feel my skills are basically interacting with people, connecting to them, communicating with them in that way. Not a typically office revenue job. I was more cut to that.
So you were deeply involved in rolling out MGNREGA in Maharashtra. What were the biggest hurdles you faced in implementing a massive program like that on the ground? And how did you ensure that promise of the right to work under MGNREGA actually reached the villagers in the state as large as Maharashtra?
When I was Deputy Commissioner Rehabilitation, I was given an additional charge of the work of MGNREGA. And MGNREGA in Maharashtra was really not picking up. In 1972, there was a big famine in Maharashtra, and a very renowned person who was a legislator and also the Vidhan Sabha Speaker, V.S. Page. And he is the founder, the Janak of Rozgar Hami Yojana, Employment Guarantee Scheme. In that scheme, a lot of big works have happened in Maharashtra. So 60% is the labor and 40% is the machine. It has to be more labor oriented, unskilled labor. We were not able to progress much. But then there was a change of the secretary also. And then Mr. V. Giriraj, who is retired now, a very renowned bureaucrat who had a great vision. And he became the secretary of EGS. He asked me, would you like to come and work at the state level? How a bureaucrat can change a scheme. I learned from him. You know, he was one person who is so thorough in his job. He used to bring one small slip of paper. You have to enable people to do the scheme properly. Unless you enable people to implement a scheme, they don't take the scheme up. People were so happy that they were getting guidelines, the program was simplified. He was one person who would not mind meeting even the section officer. It's my work. I need to go. Appreciate the good qualities in every person. One person will not have all the qualities. You take that quality and try to develop that quality. Mr. Nitin Raut, who was a minister at that time, he also gave a lot of encouragement to the secretary. We were having barely 300 crores of budget at that time. In the 3 years, it went up to 2,200 crores. More than 5 lakh wells we could do. We could do a lot of farm ponds and horticulture. People were getting water for the horticulture. Studying the scheme, understanding the rules and regulations, simplifying the rules and regulations, presenting it to the people in the correct manner, giving them the funds at the right time, following up with them, making them realize that you're also answerable.
So you have gained a reputation for your expertise in election management. Can you share a bit about what goes on beyond the scene in organizing and monitoring elections as an administrator? Perhaps recount a time where you had to take a critical decision to ensure an election was conducted fairly and smoothly.
As a deputy collector, we keep conducting elections. When I became deputy district election officer, deputy district election officer is in charge of the election of the whole district. And I was posted at Thane, one constituency which had almost like 13 lakh voters, got divided into 7 constituencies. It was so big. The rules and regulations are so perfectly written that if you follow the rules, nothing can go wrong in election. Right from the time you start preparing electoral rolls, you have to make the people aware. It begins from putting your name in the roll. For the election preparation, there is a whole process. Voter identity slips which have to be given. Ballot boxes have to be prepared. Now, of course, we have PVMs. Political parties are there throughout. It is not that it is done behind anyone's back. It's a very transparent process also. Election process in our country is so well defined and it is so interesting. So it's like a big marriage. Right from the smallest man who is taking that small tag or the bag to the election polling booth, to the person who's the presiding officer. By-election was the biggest challenge, I feel. At such short notice to organize such a big election, managing everything. And I had my newborn baby, managing my baby, managing elections. It was the big challenge. We had to do delimitation also. How you divide such a big constituency of 13 lakh voters into 7 constituencies. The process is very well defined. There is a big team working with you. So they all follow the rules. If you follow the rules, it's like perfect. And anything can be done.
So one of your flagship assignments was leading the Maharashtra State Rural Livelihood Mission UMID, which focused on women's self-help groups. Under your tenure, the mission formed over 2 lakh SHGs and uplifted 50 plus lakhs rural women across the state. What impact did you witness in the lives of the women through this program? And can you share a success story or personal anchor that made you feel proud about the work being done in UMID?
One of my favorite jobs. Once I got inducted into IAS, this was my first posting. DK Jain sir, who retired as the Chief Secretary of Maharashtra, he chose me for the job personally. I came into a program which was a developmental cadre program. And as soon as I joined, there was a World Bank mission, barely 1 month after I joined. And that World Bank mission was an eye-opener for me. Because World Bank's perspective, how they look, how their team looks, what their consultants are talking about. And that gave me the correct perspective that how the program should really be taken in. What is capacity building? What do you really, why should self-help groups be there? How you should encourage more women to join the groups. MSRLM concept is of capacity building basically. So Panchasutri means that when the group is formed, the group is regular meetings, regular savings, internal lending, regular repayment of loans and regular writing books of accounts. After that, they're given 15,000 rupees for revolving fund, which they can start some small business. And after that 15,000, if they do some small good business and show it in the next 6 months, they get 60,000 rupees. That is plus community investment fund, which they can do bigger business. And then after that, you have something known as the total entrepreneurship program, which we train them. But Maharashtra has added 5 more and made it Dasha Sutri. So what are the Dasha Sutri? They are adding health. The 6th sutra is ensuring that every woman understands what her health is. So understanding what is nutrition, having good food, having good health, taking your vaccination on time, going for institutional delivery educations, learn yourself, do the adult literacy program, ensure your children go to school, they're studying well. Then understanding what are the schemes, entitlements. So what are your entitlements? Whether it is Aadhaar, whether it is Narega, the JAM Trinity which is there, opening of bank account, whether you want to take a gas, whether you want a Awas Yojana house under the scheme. So all the schemes telling those people what they are. Then basically participating in Panchayati Raj institutions. See, today we have Sarpanch Pati, we have Nagaram Dikshapati. What is a Gram Sabha? What is a Mahila Gram Sabha? Go and ask for what you want for the village, what is for the development of village. Ensuring they got all the schemes, whether it was Narega, water, health, sanitation. And Asmita project, menstrual hygiene is something which is so neglected by women. You won't believe that they use the worst things. So to make them understand the importance of menstrual hygiene, we came up with a program which is Asmita. Availability, affordability, accessibility, and ensuring that every woman gets it in their own village. And government made it affordable at just 20 rupees. And school girls used to get it at 5 rupees. I never felt I was different. Being a woman, I always felt that I'm a part of them. And so that bonding which was there between them and between me, and I feel MSRLM is a success story of that. It really transformed women's lives.
So across 25 plus years of service, how would you describe your leadership style and what core principles or values do you always stick to when you are leading a team or a district? For example, how do you motivate your colleagues and junior officers to work together towards development goals or to respond during a crisis?
I'm a very straightforward person. Ultimately, the conscience is very important. What you have achieved in your life is ultimately what you feel worth about. Are you satisfied your own self? That you could do something for the country, for the state. What I really like most about my job is the teamwork. No bureaucrat can do the work by themselves, but taking the people along. Because if the people are not with you, then you cannot be successful. So ensuring that they're appreciated, they're part of the whole group, doing small programs, always have a Ganpati event, New Year you celebrate, try to do the birthdays together. Like I had Navratri celebration here, we did Ganpati after coming to Delhi also. And when they do the work well, appreciate it then and there. As much as you shout at them if they do wrongly, you should appreciate them when they do it correctly. So these are the things I think, key aspects I think in life for any person. Because everyone is working for appreciation. Nobody is working here to do for the social cause. Of course, you're working. But end result, you want money, you want recognition, you want appreciation, you want satisfaction in your job. People are with me and I'm with the people. Alone, I can do so little. And together, we can do so much. That has been the major force which has driven me all my life.
So when you took charge as a district collector of Nagpur in July 2021, COVID-19 was still a major threat. On your very first day, you called a meeting to prepare for a possible third wave. What was going through your mind at that time and what were your priorities in managing the pandemic? More generally, what do you think are the most important qualities for an administrator during the crisis like COVID?
My posting happened during COVID. My son was in the 10th standard and I was asked whether I would go to Nagpur as collector. They encouraged me. They said, you're getting an opportunity to serve for the nation. serve the state, you go to Nagpur and join over there. So with that fear in mind that I'm going during the time of an epidemic, leaving my family behind, ultimately the team was there. So I had the CEO Zilla Parishad, who was a very, very efficient person, Yogesh Kumbhejkar, was there with me. The doctors team which was there was fantastic. So when I took the first meeting, as soon as I arrived, we had to start preparing. We needed oxygen, we needed proper supply of medicines, we needed sanitizers, we needed people to get vaccinated. Creating awareness and ensuring that medicines reach the place at the right time, oxygen is available, the kits are available, people are getting vaccinated, available of beds, and how to have ambulances ready. Coordination, I think, is the biggest key to this, because it's such a crisis. There is like health department, there is electricity department, there's PWD making some of the things, and then there are ASHA workers, Anganwadi workers, education department, school education is there, of course, women development, child development department is there. So taking all of them together, working as a group, protect your own self and then protect the people. And here too, I think the team effort was very important. I think preparedness is ultimately the key for any crisis in life. If you plan well, if you're prepared well, so everyone's role was very clear, resources were there. The press also gave a lot of support, how to spread the information through the media. I was also very active on social media, proactively communicating with people. They also get the confidence.
So you have been a trailblazer as a woman in administrator. For example, becoming only the second woman ever to be the Nagpur district collector. Can you speak about your experience as a woman in the IAS? Did you face any bias or extra scrutiny? And how did you handle that? Do you feel the environment in the civil service is challenging for women compared to when you started?
The second collector was a lady in Nagpur, and Nagpur is a very big district. I was selected, and that was because of my Narega experience. I had worked with the minister, I had seen my commitment for over 3.5 years. My recognition in such a department, that committed work, that was the thing which gave me this collectorship. Women getting opportunities, it is not that the glass ceiling is broken completely. There are great opportunities which women get. Many times there is a question mark. That camaraderie doesn't come for men to men, but with a woman it becomes a distance come. That can be a barrier. Now the opportunities of women are becoming better and better. What is needed more is in the thought process of the people, because a woman cannot be successful by herself. A man has never been a successful by himself. Behind a successful man, there is a woman. And so there should be a successful woman who has a man behind her. Whether my father was there, my brothers were there, my husband is there, my son is there, my colleagues are there. So if not for them, I would not have been where I am today. Women need more support because, the child rearing and bearing a role, the role of the father also is there. Women have to get over that feeling of guilt. Opportunities are there, tremendous opportunities are there. Society will not change, and unless the people who are there as a part of the family will not change, it cannot happen. I have the support in my life. Without that support, I would really never have been where I am in.
So many listeners would wonder how you manage the work-life balance, especially in the early years of your career when your children were too young. What strategies or mindset helped you to fulfill your duties as an officer on one hand and the mother on the other? Any advice for other professionals on balancing career and family, particularly when both are demanding?
Getting support in life, career balancing happens only because there is somebody in your house who really take care when you're away. Ultimately, child is very important. I stayed for more than 1 year at home when my child was born. I took leave for a year. I was at home with my child for 1 year. And then after that, I joined at a place near my house. A big election came up suddenly, 13 lakh voters. I had to be in office late hours and I could not be with my child. My sister-in-law was there. She came and took care of my child. My parents used to come. My husband, of course, is there only. Like my neighbors, the friends. Quality is very important. So you may not be there with your family 24 hours. But when you are there, how devoted are you to the family? Do they feel that you care for them? Knowing the fact that your mother is there for you, your father is there for you, your siblings are there for you, at any point in life you call them. That is perhaps which gives you the most strength in your life. My family will be there for me. My colleagues are there for me, wanting to help me. So a woman should never hesitate to ask for support. 2 wheels are women and 2 wheels are men. If you remove one wheel from this car, it is not going to work. It's going to topple. It may not run the same speed. It may not function properly. There are people who are there to support you. If you're confident about yourself, you can make it.
So over such a long career, there must have been a times when you faced dilemma or pressure. Perhaps a situation where doing the right thing was not easy. Could you recount a story of a bold decision or courage that you took as an administrator? What was at stake and what gave you the courage to stick to your principles at that moment?
There are several moments in your career when you have to follow rules. If you're a person who follows rules and regulations and are disciplined, you have to take bold decisions. And then you are removed from the post. I was removed from particular positions for having taken those bold decisions, having your own stand. Ultimately, it is your conscious, or whether you know you're thinking of the good of the society, of the funds of the government. So there are 2 or 3 instances which have happened in my life when I had to take the decision, and for that I have faced transfer. So you have to be prepared for that. You should ensure that you don't change as a person, I suppose. People will know that you meant well. They will recognize you for that, and more than them recognizing, sleeping peacefully at night is very important. Ultimately, you are answering your own self. I feel happy. I don't have to answer anyone. As far as I'm happy, and I know that I've done the right thing, that is something which gives me great satisfaction.
So you have been involved in many successful projects. When you look back, what would you say are the achievements you are most proud of in your career? And what did it mean to you to receive that kind of recognition from your peers and the government?
Biggest recognition I think for a state government is that I got the Arun Bogirwar Public Service Excellence Award for making Nutri Gardens. When I was in MSRLM during COVID times, people were not getting good nutrition. They did not know where to get vegetables from. There was a big control on transport. You start making your own fruit gardens in your house. Plant methi, palak. It will come out immediately. You plant vegetables and try to get all the food from your house. We could make 2 lakh Nutri Gardens. And people were not only able to feed their own selves and be healthy, they were able to sell that and earn more than 100 crore of rupees. Making masks. So we made more than 1 crore masks distributed free or for cost. So women made more than 100 crores on Nutri Gardens and about 50-60 crores from masks. And I got the prize for that, Arun Bogirwar Public Service Excellence Award. Recognition as a person who works for women empowerment, for women entrepreneurship. Most of my senior officers, the chief secretary, they always remember me. I understood मेरा calling क्या है. I realized working for women, working for youth is my forte. I want to do that. And I devoted myself. Even government is recognizing that. That is the biggest achievement in my life, the blessing in my life. Ensure that they get their livelihoods, ensure that they get their place in life, whatever they want to do, they're able to do well. MSRLM taught me that we are there for each other as a community, as a group, as people. Be there for each other, I think.
So it's fascinating that outside of your official duties, you are a writer and a poet, with some of your poems composed into songs, and you maintain a personal blog, Heart's Content. How do these creative pursuits influence you as a person and as a leader? Do you find that writing a poetry provides an outlet to help you in your administrative work?
Yeah, it's always good to have, when you're in a job which has so much pressure. When my mother passed away in 2018, I was very close to my mother and she passed away suddenly. So I started writing blogs. It was channelized my mind into something creative. And now they have become a very inseparable part of me. And now I write for a cause which is always promoting our country, constitutional duties. We are always talking about our rights. We don't want to talk about duties. Something which is positive for society, right? Poetry, it just walked into my life. Co-trainee who was there, Sumita Kataria, she's also retired IAS now. And she is a poet. And then she said, you are writing such good Hindi and such good poetry. Why don't you publish your book? Why don't you write more? And so she started encouraging me. And I wrote the poems, but they have always a sense of hope. Life is so good. You are living, you are breathing, and you're existing. You just cannot let this opportunity to go by. This opportunity, this life which you have got, you have to use it to the best. So every person can make and do that little change. And through my poems, I try to communicate that. Reading out the poems or writing them, writing on my blog, whether on social media. So even if one person is able to change their life thanks to that, I think that will be the greatest service I think I could have done to mankind.
So many of our listeners would be students and UPSC aspirants. Drawing from your unique journey with your ups and downs, what lesson or advice would you like to share with those dreaming of the career in the civil servant, particularly for those who might be facing setbacks?
The biggest thing is that hard work. So nothing is like easy in life. Life is not a 2 minute noodle. You have to work hard and put in efforts. Even after working hard, you can never be sure that you'll be successful. Like I didn't get through UPSC after spending hours. So you should not be disillusioned in life. Everything is not going to be easy. Being courageous. We are human beings. We have got intelligence. We've got the capacity, hands, legs, eyes. And if you don't use them, then there is no point. I remember 4 lines which my sister told me when I was in school. And these lines have remained with me all my life. The heights of great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while the others slept, were toiling upwards in the night. You have to work hard, burn the midnight oil. Work and work and work. Means keep ice on your head and sugar on your tongue. You learn it in life. So these are the things if you do, I think that can really transform your life.
What is your message to the youth in general? What qualities do you think the next generation should cultivate to lead and make a positive difference in society? And for young women listening who see you as a role model, what would you say to encourage them to break barriers in whatever field they choose?
Overcome the guilt and ask for support. Try to communicate to the person that why you need the support and why it is important that they help you develop as a person. Overcome the sense of guilt. The home is not a responsibility alone of a woman. A home is run by a man and woman. In an age when you expect that a woman should be a earner contributing to the financial support of the family, the man also has to be equally there to support the woman. Come out of social media syndrome. There are 3 R's, I think, for the youth which are very important. So one is reading. Do you read at least 1 page every day? Do you read the newspaper every day? Second is about writing. How many of you write at least 1 page every day? Communication is something first, unless you read, you will not be able to write. They both go hand in hand. Power of expression is so important. Writing skills are so poor these days. And the third is arithmetic. Begins from A. Your math should be perfect. You should know the calculation, the planning, what you want to do, where you want to go. A person who fails to plan is planning to fail in his life. Keep planning, keep reading, keep writing, keep studying. Without these 3 things in your life, you can never be successful. Being humble in life, modesty and humility are something which are always there to make you look more beautiful.
That was Ms. R Vimala IAS on Believe in Future Amazing Mentor Global Leadership Series. Her story reminds us that resilience isn't loud and greatness isn't rushed. It's earned day by day. Decision by decision, she taught us that failing 5 times doesn't matter if you rise the 6th. That being a mother isn't a limitation. It's leadership at its most personal. And that doing the right thing even under scrutiny is what a true administrator are built for. If her journey moved you, challenged you, or sparked new clarity, share this episode with someone out there needs to hear it. Subscribe to Believe in Future for more voices like this. Voices that doesn't just speak but shift perspective. I am Gaurav Garg signing off. Until next time, question more, dare more, and above all, believe in your future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.